Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm doing this video because I was really concerned about this whole ordeal that's going on in the media and in news because I feel also, along with some of these things that have recently come out, and these allegations. Um, Now, I'm not saying that some people aren't guilty for some of the things that they've committed, but what I find really ironic about all of this is that all of this is very close together and it involves black males. And I've paid close attention to this and it has come back to back, the allegations on these individuals. And so the way the media paints the picture of these individuals, all of them that we know of, what they have in common. And I'm going to show you here. We have the incident with Jussie Smollett. Then we have, Bill Cosby. And then we have an article out right now where it says friends in low places, Bill Cosby offers to give R. Kelly, his team, a crisis manager. And then we have this issue right here with Michael Jackson and the Leaving Neverland documentary that alleges Michael Jackson sexually abused two boys, two white boys, that is, who are now adults. And so I find it ironic that all of this is coming so close together. The thing that I was totally in disagreement with is Jussie Smollett has been indicted on 16 counts of disorderly conduct for allegedly making false reports. And from what I was reading here, someone had mentioned that there's a possibility that he could do time. And the time that they want him to do just seems to me like it doesn't really fit, you know, the situation. And so it says that Jussie Smollett has been indicted by a grand jury in Chicago, according to multiple reports. The indictment on Friday charges the Empire Star with 16 counts of disorderly conduct for allegedly making false reports. And so they have a video accompanied with it. And I believe the Chicago chief, if people haven't seen, he made his comments.
Chicago's reputation through the mud in the process. This stunt was orchestrated by Smollett because he was dissatisfied with his salary. He concocted a story about being attacked. My concern is that hate crimes will now publicly be met with a level of skepticism that previously didn't happen. I only hope that the truth about what happened receives the same amount of attention that the hoax did.
Original reports of the alleged assault said that Smollett was attacked by masked men who said it was MAGA country, that Make America Great Again, and hurled homophobic and racist slurs at the 36-year-old actor before placing a noose around his neck. However, an Empire extra and his brother testified Wednesday, telling investigators that Smollett had hired them to participate in a fake attack. According to Johnson, the Chicago Police Department has the check that Smollett used to pay the two brothers, who then left the country to lay low in Nigeria during the public fallout from the incident. On February 15th, Smollett sat down for an interview with ABC News' Robin Roberts, doubling down on the attack allegations amid skepticism by both the public and law enforcement. Shortly after the alleged attack, Smollett, who was also a singer, was back on stage performing. At one point, he even referred to himself as a gay Tupac, positioning himself as a spokesperson for gay black men in the fight against racism and homophobia. In Illinois, a Class 4 felony could be punishable by 1 to 3 years behind bars. According to Variety, Fox is considering removing Smollett from production on Empire after his charges on Wednesday. The actor's due in court for a bond hearing Thursday afternoon. All the details to keep up with that on people.com.
Okay, so that's a commercial, so I turned that off. So that pretty much is probably the article. said that he was charged February 20th with disorderly conduct, knew that at the time there was no reasonable ground for believing that such offenses have been committed, according to the indictment obtained by CBS Chicago. So, a representative for the Cook County State's Attorney did not immediately return people's request for the comment. Smollett and the legal team previously said that they are gearing up to launch an aggressive defense, according to his attorney Todd Pugh and Victor Henderson. So, like any other citizen, Mr. Smollett enjoys presumption of innocence, particularly when there has been an investigation like this one where information, both true and false, has been repeatedly leaked. So Pugh and Henderson said in a statement given to the People on Wednesday, given these circumstances, we intend to conduct a thorough investigation and to mount an aggressive defense. And so I believe that might be pretty much the article. So they're not done with representing Smollett. So Smollett, who claimed that he was a subject of a racist homophobic attack at the hands of two men on January 29th in Chicago, told investigators that he was attacked by two masked men yelling out racial homophobic slurs. He alleged that the brothers Abel and Ola Absudario beat him, placed a noose around his neck, and poured unknown chemical substance on him before they fled. So it goes on to say that Smollett, who was given the presumption of being a victim until the later stages of the investigation revealed that the third person arrested in the case. So brothers Abel and Ola, who were seen on the surveillance footage the night of the incident, later questioned by the police, were arrested and questioned by the police last week, but were released after telling the police the truth, or their side of it, or alleged hoax. So this is Smollett. Authorities allege Smollett of paying $3,500 in cash to stage the bogus hate crime attack against him to draw attention to himself because the actor was dissatisfied with his salary. So it's basically reiterating what was said here in the video. And so after posting bond and being released from jail last month, Smollett returned to the Chicago set of Empire and Fox drama in which he stars as the main character, Jamal Lyon. February, hearing text messages between Smollett and Absudario brothers, detailed how the 45-second attack was to be alleged orchestrated, were read in court. So Smollett is found guilty falsifying a police report in Class 4 felony, which carries a potential sentence of up to 3 years in prison. So Fox and representatives for Smollett did not immediately respond to the People's request for comment. Smollett scheduled to be arraigned March 14th. So it's not over yet. We have to see what the outcome of that whole thing is going to be on Smollett. And then this thing here with Bill Cosby, most of us know. And so Bill Cosby has offered a crisis manager for R. Kelly. And so the way that this is entitled here, Friends in Low Places. And it almost feels like there's a media circus now behind these incidences. So it says, be in the loop with all the latest news. Okay. So this is Bill Cosby's manager who comments on the R. Kelly incident and wants to help fellow disgraced star R. Kelly.
As much as Melania probably wishes she had a clone or a body double, it honestly just looks like an unaltered photo where she has less makeup on than usual. As for the ladies of The View,
look, R. Kelly was tried many years ago and found not guilty. But because of Gloria Allred and her racist sex tour that has stopped in Chicago, she changed his public opinion. So right now he's guilty. He has been indicted. I feel that this is a revamp trying to get another black man. And that's Miss Alpha Red's strategy for her race and sex war tour. So tomorrow, she'll be in Foxborough, Massachusetts, sprinkling a little salt, trying to get Robert Kraft to make it believable. I've got some inquiries from his manager, and you never know, man. Hey, I look at every case, and I make a decision. But right now, his due process has been taken away from him. And he has been, in the court of public opinion, found guilty, all because of a Lifetime documentary. Have a great night, guys.
And so, there you have it. And so now I'm going to go over to this one right here, this article. Trying to get rid of the other one because it was accompanied with commercials and whatnot. And so this, this documentary, you notice that this thing here on Michael Jackson, this was really disturbing. The documentary on Michael Jackson that debuted on Sunday night on HBO features accusations of two men who claim that the late pop icon sexually assaulted them when they were children leaving Neverland. Tells the story of James Safechuck and Wade Robson, who alleged the legendary singer sexually abused them separately. Okay, and so basically, let me see if I can go back into that. I probably clicked off on it. Okay, so it just seems ironic that all of these incidences are happening so close together. And so it goes into saying that Leaving Neverland tells the story of James Safechuck and Wade Robson, who alleged the legendary singer sexually abused them separately. In the first part of the 4-hour documentary aired Sunday night. Part 2 aired Monday night, and the 4 hours are available for streaming on HBO and HBO Go. So Michael Jackson's estate releases new concert films at the same time Leaving Neverland airs. Okay. So in the documentary, Safechuck, who is now 37, said that he first met Jackson while he was filming a Pepsi commercial around the time of his 9th birthday. And so Robson, now who is 41, said he met the singer after winning a dance contest when he was 5 years old, and the men alleged that Jackson sexually abused them at his Neverland ranch after developing friendships with each. So on Tuesday, director Dan Reed told CBS This Morning on the film that is not about Michael Jackson. He said that it's not about him. So basically, they're trying to shed light on the sexual allegations that this film's about Wade Robson and James Safechuck, two little boys whom this dreadful thing happened long ago. So it's a story of their coming to terms with over 2 decades and the story of their families, Reed said. So as far as including other eyewitnesses to that, there was no one else in the room. I don't believe when Wade was being molested by Michael and when James was having sex with Michael. Okay, so the filmmakers said that they did not seek comment from Jackson's family nor his estate, which is now suing HBO for $100 million, claiming HBO is in breach of contract for disparaging Jackson in the film. And so the network has said it will move forward with airing Leaving Neverland as planned. So Michael Jackson died in 2009, which is 2009, leaving members of his family to defend him and his legacy as New allegations thrust the late singer and his family back into the spotlight all over again. And so the new allegations echo previous claims. Prior to his death, Jackson faced allegations of child molestation in 1993 and 2003, and in 1995, Jackson reached a $23 million settlement with the family of Jordan Chandler and was acquitted by a California jury on charges of allegations or alleged child abuse of the 13-year-old boy in 2005. So he denied ever acting inappropriately with children throughout his life. And so in their first television interview prior to airing the Leaving Neverland story, Rob Robson and Safechuck told CBS This Morning how their alleged abuse with Jackson began, and both detailed the methods Jackson allegedly used when they visited his Neverland Ranch in California as when they were children. So within either of the first, second night of Michael and I being alone at the Neverland Ranch, the night started changing, and one of the ways I remember is Michael just sort of he was starting to touch his legs and touch his crotch over his pants, and it progressed to more, so to speak, it was what he alleged to him performing oral sex on me, and him showing him how to perform it back on Robson said. So an exchange of that. So Safechuck, who nodded his head and Robson spoke, said his alleged abuse began very similar. So he introduced me to masturbation, and he said I taught him how to French kiss, and then it moves to oral sex again, Safechuck said. When Chandler and his family came forward alleging abuse in 1993, both Robson and Safechuck denied that they had been molested. So in 2005, the Jacksons faced criminal charges, or Michael Jackson himself faced criminal charges because Robson defended Jackson, taking the stand and offering testimony in the singer's defense. And so the training, Michael's training of him to testify began the first night that he started abusing him. Robson said, so he started telling him that if anybody else ever finds out, that they'll both go to jail and both their lives would be over. So both men eventually came forward with their own stories of Jackson's alleged abuse, filing individual lawsuits against his estate several years after his death. And so those suits were dismissed, thrown out of court, and so for having been filed too late. So Robson and Safechuck were both appealing those dismissals. So Jackson's family members denounced Leaving Neverland Ranch, or the documentary that is. So members of the Jackson family have publicly denounced Leaving Neverland, arguing that not only are the allegations detailed in the documentary false, but that the filmmakers never reached out to the family for comment or gave them a chance to argue for Jackson's innocence. Michael Jackson's brother Jackie, Tito, Marlon, and the nephew Taj sat down with CBS that morning, or CBS This Morning co-host Gayle King on Wednesday to dispute the allegations raised in the film. So I know my brother, Jackie Jackson said, and he's my little brother, and I know my brother, and he's not like that. And so it's stated in here. So members of the Jackson family have denounced Safechuck and Robson as opportunists and admitted liars. In its lawsuit against HBO, the Jackson estate called the documentary a one-sided marathon of unvetted propaganda to shamelessly exploit an innocent man no longer here to defend himself. Their defense has returned the Jackson family back into the public sphere again. From the late 1960s to the late 1980s, the Jackson 5 musical group sang some of the most famous songs in pop, in turn becoming the household name brothers Jackie, Tito, Jermaine, Michael, and Marlon helped popularize Detroit's Motown music genre and earned an induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997. By the early 1980s, Michael Jackson established himself as a superstar, super singer, separate from the family group, and his 1982 album Thriller is one of the second best-selling albums of all time. And he was inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2001. So what critics are saying is that the critical reaction to Neverland or Leaving Neverland has been overwhelmingly positive, with the documentary garnering a Rotten Tomatoes score of 96%. So NPR called the documentary a tribute to the power of personal testimony, and the New Yorker said it is a grueling and devastating film that asks viewers to reconfigure how they think both Jackson and the potential victims of rape. So others have found the documentary to be a major threat to the Jackson legacy, and Leaving Neverland is a bombshell of a film that could damage the legacy of the Jackson in ways no print reports or other TV specials have done before now. Julia Hines, the Detroit Free Press, wrote. Hank Stuever and the Washington Post said the film is devastating and credible and will turn you off Michael Jackson for good. And so it goes on to say viewers will have the chance to judge for themselves when the first part of the documentary airs Sunday night. And so this was published on March 3rd, 2019 at 4 p.m. And so you can see Michael Jackson's accusers detailed alleged grooming by late pop star, and he said that I was his first. Really, it's just I love this person and we're trying to make each other happy. And he said I was his first. And so this is Gayle King, and this is the two men who alleged of the abuse. I'm trying to click off of something. So I'm going to go back up. There's a little video that was attached to it, and it's probably like a tidbit of what went on.
Michael Jackson's family, they are speaking out about sexual abuse allegations against the singer in an explosive new HBO documentary. In Leaving Neverland, Wade Robson and James Safechuck claim Jackson abused them for years when they were young children. The documentary premieres this weekend. Jackson has always denied any inappropriate behavior with children. Safechuck and Robson both sued the Jackson estate, but their lawsuits were dismissed because of the statute of limitations. They are now appealing that. The Jackson family insists those claims are lies. We spoke to Michael Jackson's nephew Taj and brothers Jackie, Marlon, and Tito. I take this interview very, very seriously because it is very disturbing to me. And that's why I did want to talk to this child psychologist who's an expert. She said it is extremely rare for teenage boys to make false claims of inappropriate sexual conduct against a man in particular.
Unless you're Michael Jackson.
Wade Robson met Michael Jackson.
Sorry about that. There was an interference in the background, so I'm going to try to see if I can pull that back up again. Sound like there was like another video or something going in the background. So I'm going to say this. I think I actually showed that in another video that I had made. This portion right here. So
hi, I'm Tatiana.
There's a commercial attached to it. So while the commercial is going, I'll skip over once it's done.
Jackson family, they are speaking out about sexual abuse allegations against the singer in an explosive new HBO documentary. In Leaving Neverland, Wade Robson and James Safechuck claim Jackson abused them for years when they were young children. The documentary premieres this weekend. Jackson has always denied any inappropriate behavior with children. Safechuck and Robson both sued the Jackson estate, but their lawsuits were dismissed because of the statute of limitations. They are now appealing that. The Jackson family insists those claims are lies. We spoke to Michael Jackson's nephew Taj and brothers Jackie, Marlon, and Tito. I take this interview very, very seriously because it is very disturbing to me. And that's why I did want to talk to this child psychologist who's an expert. And she said it is extremely rare for teenage boys to make false claims of inappropriate sexual conduct against a man in particular.
Unless you're Michael Jackson.
Wade Robson met Michael Jackson when he was 5. James Safechuck filmed a commercial with Jackson just before he turned 9. Both say that for years the pop icon invited them to his homes and molested them. Accusations the Jackson family vehemently denies. One thing that struck me that Wade said, he calls Michael Jackson one of the most kindest, gentle, loving, caring person he knows, who helped him creatively, but also sexually abused him from the ages of 7 to 14. Do any of you think that both can be true?
Michael helped him in what he wanted to do in the videos and music from that side of things. But if Neverland was so horrifying for him, why would you keep doing that?
None of us in this room were there at the time that these allegations were made. So how can you say what they're saying are lies?
No, we weren't there, and nobody was there, but the facts are public record. I mean, what he testified under oath are all the different things that he said. Those are the facts.
In the past, both men have said that Jackson never harmed them. In 1993, Safechuck gave a statement to police for a molestation case involving another boy. No criminal charges were filed. In 2005, when Jackson faced criminal charges, Robson took the stand. His testimony is often credited with helping Jackson win in court. Wade and James both say, Wade in particular has admitted, yes, I lied on the stand. Yes, I lied under oath. Yes, I lied to my parents. Yes, I lied to everyone I cared about because I wanted to protect Michael. He did not want to be the one, in his words, that harmed Michael Jackson. Do you not believe him when he says that?
I do not believe him when he said that because we know our brother. And Michael wouldn't do anything like that. And then he waits until after the passing of Michael, 10 years later, to come out and state this. And they're still in court with their estate, suing them for hundreds of millions of dollars. Michael can't get to defend himself.
So you think the only reason they're doing it is because Michael was no longer here? And you don't buy that they wanted to protect him and that's why they lied?
No.
Wade's never protected anyone in his life.
Does the whole family feel this way? I've seen the comments from the brothers, but I haven't heard anything from their sisters.
I think there's a fear as well to put more energy to it and more eyeballs to it. I think that's why my Aunt Janet hasn't said anything because she doesn't want to make it any bigger.
Why do you think they're coming forward now?
Money.
You think it's all about money?
It's all about money.
It's always been about money. I hate to say it when it's my uncle, it's almost like they see a blank check and because they've been taking care of their whole life. And I think that's the problem. These people felt that they're owed something. You know, instead of working for something, they blame everything on my uncle.
Some would say there's a lot at stake financially for the Jackson family as well.
No. We don't get anything from this.
Emotionally, but not financially.
What's that?
Yeah. Though the Jacksons haven't seen the documentary and say they will never watch it, they take issue with filmmaker Dan Reed, who they say never reached out to the family for their side of the story.
So he took what they were saying, face value, as to be true. But he trusted them, but there's just nothing wrong with that, but you must verify. Because when you start throwing allegations out about someone, then you got to go back and say, wait a minute, let me make sure I'm telling you the right thing. Make sure they're not selling me a bunch of goods, which they were.
What do you want to say about your brother as this documentary is about to hit the country?
I want them to understand and know that this documentary is not telling the truth. There has not been not one piece of evidence that corroborates their story. And they're not interested in doing that.
Some would say, though, guys, it's hard for you to sit here and say the documentary isn't telling the truth when you haven't seen the documentary. Shouldn't you see the documentary?
I don't care if you know, because I know my brother. I don't have to see the documentary. I know Michael. I'm the oldest brother. I know my brother. I know what he stood for, what it was all about, living the world together, making kids happy,
And he was never, in your opinion, abusive to children. Never inappropriate with children.
Never
in a sexual way.
Not in a sexual way.
Yeah, they were very adamant. As you see, they said that over and over and over again. And even asked different ways about Michael. They all go back to, we know him. The world doesn't know him the way we know him, and he would never, ever hurt a child, which is what Michael Jackson used to say all the time.
And look, I understand as a family, they want to defend and protect him. But one thing that stood out to me watching the documentary is how alone Michael Jackson seemed, right? He didn't see the family around him. In fact, he viewed these boys as family. So that doesn't necessarily work with what they're saying.
He had a very complicated relationship with his family. And when you see the documentary, you will see he felt very close to strangers who you would think didn't know him as well as his family did. It's a very interesting dynamic all the way around, but they are very adamant about this. Michael Jackson did not do this. This is about money, and their brother is not there to defend himself.
And so that is pretty much that. That's unrelated. Yeah, so I just find it ironic that all of these things are happening all so close together. And to me, I feel like it affects the Black community, it affects Black males, it affects Black females, it affects Black people in general. And these stories, these horrible incidences that have come out, you know, the way they're handling it seems like a media circus, and it's all come to a head. And I just wanted to know, what do people think about this? You know, people who have viewed the documentary and all of these allegations that are coming out. What do you think about all of this, from the Jussie Smollett incident to the Cosby incident prior, and to R. Kelly? You know, you noticed all of this is so close together, all of this. And what are your feelings on all of these incidences? Does it look as though this is a modern day lynching of Black males? And notice that all of them were really well known. They were really pretty popular, and it just seems as though that it's happening so close together. And I don't know if this is true or not. I was hearing that Jussie Smollett might be doing like a lot of time. I feel like he doesn't deserve to be given, you know, 70, I don't know, I recall somebody was saying like 60, 70 years in prison for making up those stories. I don't think he deserves that. Probation, yes, he deserves a consequence, but that, like, that amount of time in jail or prison, I don't think that fits what has happened here. He does deserve to be, you know, punished. With Cosby, he's being punished, but it was like a media circus on that whole level. And we know, now from what I was told with that whole incident, is that a lot of it, you know, there are a lot of people that came forward on him, and and the woman that it seems like they highlighted, it almost looks as though that it's like, let's make an example out of these males who exude all this power, especially the Black ones, who exude all this power and all of this, you know, fame, and let's take them down. And it's the same thing as like, I wonder if they would have done all of this if this had happened to Black females, if these men had did this, you know, if Cosby had did this to the black females, um, it seems like there was one involved. Most of them were white women, it looked like. Now, with R. Kelly, there were black females involved, but it seems as though they kind of let that go for a long period of time. It's 2 decades to be exact. And now they're probably looking at it more serious because of the fact that they have some factual evidence and proof to go along with that. But it took them so long to even look at that. You see that? And because you're dealing with black women, and then I think one woman was Latina. The other thing here is Michael Jackson's situation. He's dead and gone, and these boys said that they lied, and one defended him in court. And so I just don't buy it. I really don't buy it. I think there's a lot of lying going on that we'll never really get to the bottom of this completely, not easily. And it's so easy to persuade popular opinion um, based on some of these documentaries. I believe the ones who should be doing time are the ones who can make documentaries and persuade people within 30 minutes. You know, it's like almost like, let's not believe the court of law, you know, because this is a black man that abused 2 white little boys. And it's almost like that movie, like The Green Mile. It's like, we don't want to hear what anybody has to say. A black man abused 2 little white children, and we're going to take them down. And I feel like this is the way these pictures have been painted, that yes, you are going to criminalize and you're going to give consequences or jail time to people who deserve it. But in the process of all of this media frenzy, the circus, it just seems like when it has to do with black people, it's like a big media circus. And then on top of that, we have people who are so easily persuaded despite not having any proof, you know, that all they see is, I feel like this is sort of getting to a place too in some ways where it's racialized as well. All they see is this black guy touch these white boys. It's not about, you know, do we have any proof? Do we know that this happened? All it's hearsay. And you're hearing it from people who had admittedly said that they lied. And I just am not buying it. I'm sorry. I can't just go on a documentary that's saying this about this particular situation right here. However, with the R. Kelly, there's actual tape where you can see women being abused and sexually abused and vilified, or however you want to put that. And with the Smollett, they did find out that he was in fact lying. But to give him that many years, I don't know if that's going to actually happen. I think that's too much, you know, and that would really sound the alarm, that if they give him like a lot of years in prison for that particular incident, I could see getting probation, a lengthy probation, maybe even a fine, and then him being suspended from a show or from his career for a while. I could understand that, but giving him like many years to do in jail, in prison, I feel like that is going too far with the punishment. It doesn't fit that type of incident. And so that's my opinion. Now, what do you think? I know some people might have different opinions, and you're entitled to it, such as I am entitled to my opinion. But I do feel like that these things happening so close together is, to me, it's like a ploy or a plot to destroy the Black communities, pop icons and legacies that meant a whole lot. And it's like, to me, I look at it like a lynching, but in this day and age. And it's to destroy who you are as a person, destroy your credibility, destroy your name, ruin your legacy, and then take you down, all the way down. And now they can even do it beyond the court of law. And so this right here is really low, 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 in my opinion. I just think this has gone too far and it's blown out of proportion in some of these incidences. And I feel comfortable when there's actual visual evidence of something actually happening, when they have like a videotape of something being done. I mean, usually, just like R. Kelly had videotape of the acts that he was engaged in, I'm wondering, why wasn't there any videotapes or anything that maybe Michael left behind that shows that he was actually doing these things? Because wouldn't it be, most of those pedophiles, they tend to like to keep trophies as well. They like to keep something of their victims. They like to have videotape so that they can replay those images and before them over and over again, because that's what they are, that's what they're turned on by. And so, most of the times, pedophiles, they got a lot of those in LAUSD, which they haven't spoken of, and in all of these school districts. They have people who have had a history of pedophilia, and a lot of times they will go on the internet and they will search videos out, or they'll have a pedophilia ring, and a lot of those people like to sell videos, or they'll make videos and keep them, and then they'll view them over and over again, and they sell them on, I'm sure they sell them online or in a black market or whatnot, because they try to not get caught. And then a lot of times you have those same individuals who they go on social media and they pose as a teenager or a child so that they can get close to their victims or potential victims. And so I know this kind of seems like there's a similarity here, but a lot of times those type of individuals usually like to keep videos of child pornography. And I don't know that, Michael has kept any videos of his actions with these particular kids. And so I'm wondering, or not, what do you think about that? Anyway, I'm going to let this video go. Like, comment, subscribe. And tell me what you think about this. Do you think this is just another modern day lynching, or is this a coincidence? With that being said, thanks for listening.